Hey guys, what's up? It's Jonathan Cunningham here, and this is my not so expert opinion. And first of all, I just want to say thanks for listening, and also thanks for those of you that are actually checking in with me here, because this is the first podcast that I've done that I'm recording. Now, if you're listening to the podcast, nothing's really going to change. If you aren't, well, then you can actually see. And honestly, this has been kind of the vision from the beginning, just how to go about it. I really wasn't sure. I really didn't know how I would go about doing this as far as like making this a video. And I tried with my phone, and I tried with certain, other solutions, and I really couldn't find the one that I was looking for, file size, that sort of thing. It just wasn't working out. And then whenever I was about to head on my missions trip, I actually picked up a camera to kind of vlog the trip. And I realized that I can use it for this and that. So I'm actually really excited about that. So I just want to say again, thanks. And today what I want to talk about is actually something that's very, very important and near and dear to my heart, and that's missions. And I wasn't sure how I should address my feelings or my thoughts whenever it came to this. Everyone post a Facebook post right afterwards initially, and they talk about how it changed their life and that sort of thing. And I agree, it is very much so a life-changing thing, or at least mentality in the moment. And my thing was, I really wanted to figure out what in my life was going to change, because thoughts can change, your perceptions can change, or it could just be temporary, like, oh man, I really think that this is great, but it never really changed your life. It never really changed anything other than that moment, or maybe the week after, and so on and so forth. And so that's something that I've really been thinking about and praying about, as far as, how am I going to allow this to change my life? Like, what actions are going to change in my life? And so I, had to take some time to think about it. I mean, I knew that it really had touched me, and I knew that it had done, a lot in my life, but I really didn't know specifically what in the world, was going to be different. And I feel like after being home a few days and just seeing how open I am in certain situations that I wasn't necessarily before shy about, but I'm more open. It's more like it's become purposeful for me. So that's something that I definitely would recommend everybody going on a missions trip. I mean, not just to impact other people, because it's really easy to be like, oh, well, I'm going to go help people, or try to make yourself feel good and be like, oh yeah, now I'm going to go rescue people, or, I'm going to make their day, and that sort of thing. It's kind of like this cheap emotional high, that sort of thing. And this, I really feel, can be so much more. It can be so much more if you go down with the expectation that whenever you leave, you're going to be different than whenever you went down there. I think that that's something that, can definitely be overlooked, because people want to talk all the time about what, like, oh, well, what did you do? What happened? That sort of thing. Like, how did you help people? And not like, oh, well, what did you get out of it? What were you able to bring home from that situation? And I think that's something that's very important, that's actually overlooked very, 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 very often, and it may never really get brought up as far as what's changed in your life. So that's what I want to address, that, and also how amazing it is to go on a mission trip. And also shout out to the Atlanta Dream Center. Man, it was honestly one of the smoothest, if not the smoothest missions trip that I've ever been on. Their planning, their schedule, their everything. It was very, very efficient. And that's something that I definitely, appreciate, because it's like, man, I'm here, I have X amount of days, let's get as much work done as we can. And I feel like that they have the same approach. It's like, hey, you know what, you're only going to be here for, 5 or 6 days, so let's get as much done in those 5 or 6 days as we possibly can. And so once again, the Atlanta Dream Center, check it out, find a way to get connected, give money to this organization. Man, I can wholeheartedly 100% endorse the Atlanta Dream Center. It is crazy in the ministry that they have going on down there. I highly recommend it. But anyway, so as far as I'm concerned, I feel like that one of the things that I thought and I was becoming comfortable with was my prayer life. And I feel like, compared to what I've heard and seen and that sort of thing, and again, I'm not judging other people, I'm just saying honestly, I felt like that my prayer life was advanced. I felt like it was a little deeper than most. It was more consistent. And there was a couple of times where I was not prayed up enough to go into those environments. And I know that may sound kind of silly, but it's really the only way that I know how to describe it. I mean, there's one night where we're going around and we're actually talking to and witnessing to prostitutes, and we're actually giving them roses and that sort of thing, and the girls are handing them scriptures and just letting them know that they're loved and that there's more opportunities. They're trying to get them off the street and that sort of thing. And man, it was an incredible experience, but I was just broken. I mean, I was so broken. I didn't have anything to say. Jonathan Cunningham didn't have anything to say. I was riding in the back of the van, and we're sitting there, and we're praying in between stops and that sort of thing, and I had nothing. I was just so broken. I was just so beat. Like, I had even encouraged the team, like, I'm the leader of the team. I told everybody, make sure you're prayed up. Make sure you're prayed up. And whenever I got there, I thought that I was. And then I realized that I wasn't prayed up enough. So that's really forced me now to really be more consciously aware of, don't base your own spirituality against someone else's performance. It has to be the utmost to your ability, not based upon everyone around you. And again, I'm not judging people at all. I'm just saying, as a general statement, do not base your prayer life, do not base your relationship with Christ on the people around you, because that isn't what's going to get it done. Your calling may be, I'm not saying mine's greater, I'm just saying your calling may be greater. You may be being called into something deeper that's going to require you to be more prayed up. And I honestly had lost sight of that because I thought, well, I'm good. I talk to people all the time, and I'm like, man, you know what? Your prayer life needs to be strengthened. And that's something that I haven't heard in a long time. I haven't had somebody say, John, you're slacking on your prayer life. Like, people ask me about my prayer life, and I explain to them the situation and how it is and how it goes. And they're like, oh, man, you're good. Like, I wish that I was on, or I wish I was doing that. And so I went in there thinking that I'm good. And man, I got beat down. Now, again, the thing that's awesome with God is that I was able to come out of it the next day. I was able to literally pray my way out of it and then wake up the next morning like refreshed and that sort of thing. But that was not something that I had anticipated. I was not prepared for that. And I thought that I was prepared for anything. So again, that's something that I can say that my life has changed. Because why? Because I feel like that now my prayer life has to go deeper. And that's awesome because I haven't had that motivation in a long time. I mean, I've been consistent with it, but as far as just going deeper and deeper, that hasn't been there. So that's the first thing. The second thing is just having an understanding of your story is important. Your story means something, that we all have a testimony. Man, one of the things is that I was able to lead a guy to Christ, and it was just amazing to me because he looked at me square in the face and said, you know what, I cannot go and say the sinner's prayer, because I asked him after praying with him, I could just see that he just was longing for that, and I asked him, and he said, you know what, I can't really pray that prayer because I was high yesterday. He has a heroin addiction. And I just looked at him and said, dude, you can't. Why? And as he was explaining to me, his situation and what was going on, I was like, man, you know what's awesome? And he's like, he just kind of looked at me like, whoa, what's awesome? Like, what could possibly be awesome about that? And I just looked at him and said, dude, right before I rededicated my life, literally like at 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, I was in a strip club, bro. Like, I understand how it feels to not be worthy. I understand that completely. Let me show you the answer to your problems. Let me show you, like that hole that's inside of you. Let me show you how to fill that. Let me show you how to break your insecurity. Let me show you how to now feel like that you're worth something, because you know how much God gave up, for you, how much Jesus Christ gave up for you. And man, that was just an experience that I didn't really think about as far as how important my story is, or how important my story is to somebody else. And the other thing is, as I was talking talking, and I'm not going to call him out by name, but I was talking to this guy as I was eating a burger. He was actually one of the workers there, and he told me that basically he didn't have a story, that he didn't have a testimony, that he didn't have the same thing, and I could see it in his eyes. It's almost like he didn't feel like that his story, because he had been with Christ forever, because he had been loyal, because he didn't have this ridiculous past, that therefore he didn't have this representation of what Christ does inside of you. And I was able to speak to him and just say, bro, you know what? You are something that I can never be. I can never be you. Anybody can be me. Anybody can have my story. Anybody can go out into the world, come back and be redeemed and be saved and all that sort of thing. Anybody can do that, but you're special because you don't have that. And he just kind of looked at me and he's like, dude, I really do have a story, don't I? And it is like, it just clicked. Like it just clicked inside of his brain for the first time. And I could tell that it was almost like he had this excitement level of what God had done for him again. And it's one of those things that I feel like that the church does an injustice to people that are like that. Like, these are the people that should be celebrated. But see, the thing is, because there's not very many of them, people act like A, they don't exist, or B, because then they would have to be held accountable for their past actions, because they aren't that person. Like, well, that doesn't look good, or that doesn't sound good. And my thing is, we've all been redeemed. We've all been saved. So how awesome is it that this person found Christ at a young age and is stuck with it? I mean, how awesome is that? I heard that, and man, I get pumped up and I get excited. And I've had this discussion with my girlfriend, because she's pretty much the same way. She's just always been there. And it's like she just loved God so much that she's always been there. And to me, that is what inspires me. And a lot of times people have this viewpoint that, oh, only if you have like a ridiculous testimony can you be used, or can people find it awesome? No, you're completely wrong. And if somebody told you that, which it may not have been said that or told that, but whenever people like me are the ones that really get the, shine almost whenever it comes to what God has done in somebody's life, to me, those are the people that I look up to. And I can tell that no one has said that to them before. No one had said that to him before. Like, man, you know what? You inspire me, bro. Thank you. And it's like, it is such a disservice, because that's what we want, yet because so few people do it, let's not talk about it, it seems like. But to me, like, these are the people that should be in the forefront. Like, you know what? I did do it right. I was there the whole time. Like, Jesus Christ got a hold of me at a young age, and I was just able to go with him. I was able to stay with him. I was able to be close to him. And that is, to me, way more impressive than what my story is. Now, I'm not talking about the grace that I received, because I am very thankful for the grace. I am very thankful for the grace that I received. And so it's like that fine line that you have to have an understanding, but at the same time, bro, that's awesome. And if you're watching this, dude, I'm super pumped for you, man. I am excited. I can't wait to see where God puts you in a couple of years and rewards you, because yes, there will be a reward for your loyalty, bro. Man, like, it was just powerful. And the third thing is, as far as, missions are concerned, is you would be surprised at what a week together will do for complete strangers. Because we went there, and I mean, I sort of knew most of them, but then there was a few that I literally had no idea. Like, one girl I had never seen before. I actually didn't even know she existed until the day before we went. So whenever I found out who she was, it was just kind of like, well, what in the world? And by the end of it, by the end of the trip, it's like, I've got her back no matter what. It was pretty much like it took a week for me to go from not knowing her for her to be viewed as my little sister. And I mean, literally. And so it's crazy about how much God will bring people together whenever you are working for him, whenever you guys have and share these experiences together, and not just 10 hours in the van both ways and me getting lost. Now, that was a little bit on the ridiculous side at times. I was just like, what in the world? Yeah, we're lost. Or, my favorite thing, if you've never been to Atlanta, is this. Approximate distance, 4 miles. Time to get there, 28 minutes. Like, what? We're going to go 4 miles in 28 minutes. And sure enough, whenever your GPS says average speed, 19 miles an hour, a couple of days, what in the world is going on? But you know what? My team, My team was fantastic. Their attitude was incredible. We went down with the thought process. We went down with the attitude that whatever, whenever we're in. So it was really easy. And I mean, and it should be, and I believe it is. But then whenever you see the execution of it, man, I mean, I am so proud of our group, like so proud. I just couldn't believe it. As a matter of fact, I went up to, the guy who runs the place. I'm like, dude, this is the first time that I've ever led a group. Can I get some constructive criticism? And I want you to tell the group what we can do as a whole to be better. And he just looked at me and then looked at us and said, you know what? We would get so much more done if every group that comes out here was like your group. And that was incredible. I mean, that was, you can think that you're doing good, just like I was with my prayer life, and then realize that I really wasn't. But then whenever you realize, man, we really did come down here and we really did crush it. And not only that, we were able to just witness to people. We were able to make a difference in people's lives. There are people's lives that have been changed forever because of the week that we gave up for our life. And how incredible, how amazing is that? That is the thing about God, is that he can take something that seems to be so small, or you're not really sure, or you don't really know what's going to happen. And he just turns it literally into the miraculous, because all of a sudden you're seeing people saved. You are being able to reach out to people that have never been loved. Well, one of the guys that I was actually able to lead to Christ, this is crazy. The same guy that I was talking about earlier, I heard him praying, and one of the things that he said just, man, it crushed me, because he said, God, thank you for sending somebody who at least took the time to show me love. Nothing makes me happier than to see them smiling and happy to see me. That hasn't happened in a long, long time. And this dude is not the type of person that you would think would be saying that, would be praying that, because I'm just looking at this dude and I'm thinking, man, there is no way there is no way that like those kind of emotions are coming out of this guy. Like, no way, those emotions don't come out of me. And it's just incredible how God will just touch people right there. And so, I mean, as a group, whenever we're all experiencing all of this at the same time, man, you become close. Like, you are family. This is no joke. I mean, there are people now, since leaving in there that I didn't speak to, that now it's like, even on Facebook, the interaction is just like, man, we did something together. We endured something together, because it's not always the best conditions. But since we're all there for the same purpose, it just worked out. Man, it was incredible. Again, the Atlanta Dream Center. You guys should check it out. I'm telling you, get connected. Find a way to invest in them, whether it be financially or your time. It was incredible, man. I just loved it. And then whenever I because here's the other thing. I helped with, a couple people to get there. Like, I didn't personally pay for it, but I helped them acquire some money in order to go, because you know what? I knew what it did in my life. I knew the changes that it made in my life. So I wanted somebody else to experience, right? And then it's crazy whenever, people get that experience and they just look at you like, dude, thanks. And not from me. I didn't care about, that they like them telling me thank you, but I could just tell that it made an impact. So that's why I'm like, man, anytime anybody needs a mission trip led, hit me up. I don't care what it is. Like, just let me know. I'm down 100%. Just let me know the day, let me know the time, and how many people, where it's going, and I'm in. I mean, that's just my mentality, because I want other people to experience this. If you haven't gone on a missions trip, get on one. Your church has a missions trip. If not, go to a different church. Ask one of your friends, something like that. And don't use the excuse that's like, oh, well, I don't have any money. I wish I could afford to go. Okay, listen, it's June. Next year, there will be a missions trip. Start saving up right now. Put $100 a month down. Start mowing extra lawns. Start doing whatever. Start the fun. Cut out fast food. Whatever you have to do, get on there, because I guarantee you that this will change your life. This is life changing. Missions work will change you. Your soul will never be the same. I promise you that. I saw, like I said, so much growth in the week that there is no way else to get that amount of growth. There is no way else to get that close to God in a week, because you are literally leaving your life behind. It is gone for a week, and then it is just you and God, and then you find out who you are real quick right there. It lets you know where your walk is with Christ. It lets you know how much of the Spirit you're actually spewing out, by how long and how long you can endure and how well you do it. That is just it. It is a test. And so I am just so excited and proud of my group again, because they did so well. I mean, the only person that I can think of that did, a bad job was me whenever I was just completely beat. And I don't think it was necessarily bad. It's just that it was eye-opening experience. And that's another thing. It's like every single time you go, no matter where you go, it's always going to be different. It's always going to be some other way you're touched. Like, that's just different than the last time. So again, I just really encourage you guys, get involved with missions. I promise it is going to be life-changing. I really appreciate you guys checking out my video. I'm going to be doing a lot more with video and audio as well. I got a ton of things coming. I've just been really busy. I was going to vlog the trip, but it really, they're not too keen on us taking video or pictures of that sort of thing. I completely 100% understood that. But believe, whenever I go to Jamaica, that they're a little bit more loose as far as that's concerned. So I'll definitely have some vlog videos and just some more videos in general, because what I really want to do with all this is just reach the masses and reach people for Jesus, just keep making them famous. So, that's pretty much it for me for now. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys listening. You guys can check me out at my Not SoEO on Twitter, my Not SoEO on Twitter, E28 Ministries on Facebook. I'm finally getting that going, and this will be on YouTube. So once again, I just appreciate you guys. God loves you, and I'm out. Peace.